Hello everybody, Brett here for another episode of TopoRanger. Today we're back at the Wizard Branch for a special probing edition. If you have watched any of my previous Wizard Branch episodes, you will know that this preserve, nature preserve, that's what it is. I think it's about 250 acres. It's got all kinds of stuff here, remnants, ruins from bygone era. The wizard was Malon Haynes, the shoe wizard. He used to own this property, this ranch, and I think it was a working farm. And there was all kinds of, infrastructure. We did one episode searching for a root cellar, which is over that way. We found that one. I'll put the link up right now. That was a great episode. And I think we did one or two other ones where we explored some of the ruins here. The last time I was here, I was just walking for my own pleasure. But as always, my eye was out. I was looking around. Tiger lilies are out. I think that's what that is, right? Tiger lily. Maybe all through here. Like I was saying, I was here for my own pleasure and relaxation. And I happened to come down to this spot right here, which is where the trail heads off around this ridge. And there's a stream here. And there is a enclosure right down here, which we'll be at in about 5 seconds. Well, maybe 10. Okay, there it is. You see this enclosure here? See that fence there? It's not very big. It just goes down. There's a wetlands here. I was told that this used to be a place where they had bison. That's right. The shoe wizard had bison here. I don't know how many. I don't know what they did with them. I don't know what the point was. They also had alligators down in the pond here that apparently got away. During a flood of some time. I think the feral female left me that comment. I'm not sure though. You have to go look on that video. But there were alligators and they got washed away. But this spot right here kind of intrigued me, mainly because come down here, you can't help but notice there's a big moss-colored slab of concrete there. And right here, you can also see some type of old stone-built structure. There's an old fence post with the orange trail. And I thought, wow, that's a big slab. You don't just throw a slab like that in the woods for no reason. Perhaps it is left over and there was something here that was demolished at some point. Well, what could that be? What could that be? So I'm kind of walking around here. And I look down here and I say, what's that? What is that? And I see some bricks. I see some concrete here. And I see some what looks to be like stonework. Some type of brick and stone structure. You can also see it goes over here. And then there's another brick there. So we're looking at a corner here. Goes up here, and then we kind of lose it. But I'm wondering, why is there what used to be obviously a substantial structure in the middle of the road, right? Doesn't seem to make any sense unless the road came after the structure. There was something here. And when they came down with this road, perhaps they destroyed it. And I said, well, what's here? Well, maybe it's related to that big slab there and that other construction over there. So here, and then there's something here. And I'm thinking to myself, what's going on here? There's something going on, but I'm not quite sure what it is. But you know, my spidey senses are tingling. And on that last trip when I was here, when I first noticed that wall, I also found what is an old well or privy. There is a octagon shape, some type of foundation up here, and there's some other stuff scattered all through this side of the ridge here. So I don't know how old those are. The well or the privy, it's got a big steel plate over it. It looks pretty old. So I don't know what era that was from. Maybe that was from, you know, before the wizard owned it, right? So on that day, as I walked down this road, I was looking around, looking for holes or overhangs or caves or ruins, whatever, you know. That's what we like to do here at TopoRanger, right? I hope you like to do it. And I just happened to glance briefly over here. Now let me make sure I'm at the right spot here. Hold on. Yeah. Maybe it was here. Okay, sorry. And right about where you see this, if you look over, I saw a rocky hollow right there. I think I was here when the leaves were gone. I think it was maybe winter or spring. So I could see this better. I said, what is that? I said, oh, it's probably just a piece of rubble, or perhaps a, you know, a little outcrop, or the rhyolite, or the metabasalt, or the quartzite. But you know me, I gotta get a closer look. I went in there and I said, oh hey, that's not a it's not an outcrop, that's some type of space. And I'm seeing some type of construction there. So I come in here, hopefully there's no poison, but there probably is. So I came in for a closer look, and sure enough, we have some type of space there. And I'm thinking, aha, this is it. There's something here, and it's somehow related to that big slab over there, and it somehow was destroyed perhaps when this road came through. And of course I had to do a quick little probe, which I did when I was here. I got some images there, and I said, well, what's going on here? Let's poke the camera in here a little bit. Oh wow, there's a whole space under there. So we look in and we say, you know what, I think we found something. We found either an old cistern, perhaps an old root cellar. It has an arched ceiling, so to me that says, you know, like a root cellar type of thing. But I don't know for sure because I couldn't get in far enough. So what we are going to do today, we're going to probe this sucker. I have a special setup that I came up with, and we're going to come down here and we're going to probe it. So let's get started. I'm gonna head back to the car, get everything we need. But I just want to show you, as you're walking by here, on any given day, even when the foliage was not here, what do you see? Nothing. I don't see anything. Some type of underground space here, some type of chamber. The wizard's lost root cellar? We will find out shortly. All right, we're back. And as usual, we have thorns. This time they're right over our head. I set out a little tarp here just to keep things clean. This is this hammer that we found on our last trip down to the kilns there. I'm going to use this to dig around a little bit. This is kind of an innovation for this probe. This is, of course, our main probing pole. It's just a pool skimmer pole, and I have a fixed 1000-watt hyper tough there, and GoPro's going to go right there. And I did it like this so I could turn this light in various directions, that way, straight down, straight back, so I can get various shots. Two things I just want to mention right now. Number one, you might be thinking, well, why don't you just dig it out and crawl in there? Well, I don't know what this is like. I don't know how long this thing has been here. I don't know the structural integrity. So it would be foolish of me to climb in there. But we can probe, right? We can send in a camera and a light instead of a person. Number two, when I first found this thing, I did do a kind of a little preliminary probe just with my hand and a light and a camera. And there's some stuff in there that I'm not sure what it is. So I don't really want to physically go in there because there's stuff on the floor and there's something weird on the ceiling. And I don't actually know. So number one, let's be safe. Number two, let's be safe, right? There are some bottles and mason jars and stuff like that. I couldn't see everything though, because it goes in there quite a ways. That's why we're doing the probing. There is also an old, maybe parts of an old plow or some parts of an old farm implements. And then there is what looks to be bones, skeletal remains of some type. And of course, my first thought was, well, what if there's a bison in there? What if they, you know, dumped a dead bison and then they made the road and they, I mean, who knows, right? But there is stuff in there that looks like ribs, skeletal remains, or maybe that's just wooden farm implements that have been, you know, kind of situated just so that makes it look like a skeleton. I don't know, but those are the reasons I'm not gonna physically go in there because it's just rather gross. But seeing as how this is obviously part of the agricultural history or farm history of this preserve, it'd be neat to find out exactly what it is. You down in there? I just did a quick look around with this light, and this is a wide structure. One end is over there, and then the other side is way over here. So it goes down and to the left. This is something that you can use for woodworking, right? Just a roller. But what I'm gonna do is, since it goes back there quite far and I wanna really try to pan around as much as possible, you know, make it interesting for you guys, I thought, why don't I put this on the ground, situated somehow, probably like this, right? And then I can just roll this over top of this, and it'll give me support. It'll make it easier for me to guide the probe in there. So first thing I have to do is just figure out how to get this situated so it actually works. All right, first kink in our plan already. I just broke my roller. Not sure how, but it was plastic and the roller piece just broke off. I couldn't get it to go back on. So we're not gonna have the roller, which is unfortunate. However, it really does drop off quite steeply here. So I'm just gonna go with the old method, which is just sneaking it in this way. I'm just gonna have to dig that out a little bit just to fit this sucker in. All right, we got the B-roll rolling here. That's our target. Here's our setup. First shot we're gonna do is, I think, just looking straight forward. And once we get it in there a little bit, we're gonna move it side to side like this, because like I said before, it goes quite a ways that way. It's a pretty wide structure. So I just gotta fit this in there without destroying it. Let's go super bright. 1000 lumens. And we're gonna point the light more or less straight away. Okay, here we go, ready? Oh my God, it's that's a creepy root cellar, man. This thing's big. Get some distance there. Action. All right, that looks like that's the main part. I can see bricks, bottles, tiles of some type. I don't know if that's a root. It goes, like I said, it goes to the left here. I'm gonna go to the left a little bit. See what we got there. So that's the far room. The whole thing has got to be almost 10 feet wide at the widest. I'm going in deep here. I see some chicken fencing. All right, I'm in pretty deep now. I couldn't be more than 2 feet away from the far wall. Well, that's what that looks like. Let's see if we can get a better shot off to the left. There's the left. Here's the right side. I don't know if that's a tree root or a skeleton. I do see a fairly recent Pepsi bottle, so maybe somebody threw that in there. All right, let's change the camera. We're gonna look straight up now. Same shot. Get ready, here we go. Now I want to see what that black stuff is on the ceiling that I spotted when I was here the first time. So we're gonna put this sucker up. Cut, action. Now we're going in looking up. I can't see anything on the camera. So I'm shooting blind here. There was this weird black stuff. I don't know if it was a shadow. Or what the heck that was. Okay, there we go. I'm about 10 feet in now. So if there's something on the ceiling, we should be seeing it. Whether it's a shaft going up or maybe just some type of tar. It almost looked like tar. All right, we're gonna go to the left here. And then we're gonna spin around to the right. Not sure what it does coming back at us. I think a significant amount of this thing was destroyed when they put the road in. Now we're going to try to do a shot. I'm going to try to do a shot looking back. Shorten this puppy up a little bit. A little rough on the bricks here. So for the last shot, I want to turn this around and have it look back out, because that's always interesting. So we're gonna pop this off. I just took a shower. Now I'm all muddy. All right, I am recording, and this is gonna be on. There we go. Okay, ready? Here we go. We gotta squeeze this beast in again, which is not. All right, here we go. I'm sweating like a pig. Alrighty. Let's just double check this sucker. All right, in we go. Stop looking back. Try to get in there as far as I can. Also, so I can see what's under me right now, if anything. So, light's touching the ceiling. Sorry, okay, so the light is not touching the floor. That's about horizontal. Do we see anything interesting? To my left or to my right? It is a big space in there. All right, here we go. We're pulling her out. Ready? Oh, I want to hit the camera. Trying to not crush my camera or scratch the lens. The light's pretty tough. It's got tough right in the name. There we go. All right, well that was that. Like I said, on that last shot, I couldn't really see what was going on after a couple feet in, so I really have to take it home and look at the footage on a laptop. Looked like some stuff, perhaps that what I thought was a skeleton was actually just an old tree root, but I don't know. Don't know for sure. I'm not going in there myself, and the only way to find out is to do a proper probe. All right. If you had a good time, make sure you hit subscribe, ring my bell, follow me on all the platforms. All right. Whew, it's getting swampy. This is Brett, coming to you from the Wizard Ranch in beautiful York County, Pennsylvania, and I'll see everyone in the next episode.